Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner. And today we have Richard again, and he is our antidote to artificial intelligence. So Richard, so good to have you on the show again, and we're going to carry on from our previous episode where we spoke about those three archetypes of data, which was data of record,
Yep.
data of analytics, and metadata,
Yeah.
right? And this will be our kind of like our golden thread throughout the season, how we protect these,
Yeah.
and what do they mean to the business. So we've already established that all three of them are key to
Yes, yeah.
rebuild your business.
Yeah.
But really what we're going to be delving in today is protecting, especially at enterprise levels, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about just individual, we're talking for businesses.
Yes.
That's what data science is, our market is helping large organizations protect those three archetypes of data. So we're going to be specifically focusing on the challenge of data at scale, right?
Yeah.
Massive amounts of that. So perhaps you, Richard, would like to take us through what that really entails in a business and, try and make it relatable for our audience.
Cool. I'll give it a go. So, a good way to recap those three ideas, the data of record,
Yeah.
data of analytics, and metadata, might be to, for example, my laptop. So, I do my work on my laptop,
Yeah.
I get my emails, whatever it is, my information is stored on my laptop. That's my data of record,
Okay.
the information that I receive and create here.
Yeah.
Now, it's easy to back up a laptop on its own, in isolation.
Yes.
However, what happens if I'm sharing information with my peers?
Yeah. So now we.
Sending emails, working on documents together based on the information we've now received. That might be a type of data of analytics.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's now an additional layer we need to concern ourselves with in terms of backups.
Yeah.
Now, taking that further, what happens if we have tens of thousands of colleagues in different business units doing different things? All of a sudden, we have a huge web of things that are connected in different ways.
Yes.
And each of these laptops in this scenario have multiple connections. So you can see the complex way that we suddenly have to now consider our information. And that would be the metadata, is how are these all connected?
Correct.
So we have these three layers we need to address, and as you could hopefully see from the example, at scale it becomes complex,
Yeah.
it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to focus on, is how can we address a business who's growing, who's got a lot of information, the information is continually growing and the systems are growing.
So, I mean, we just spoke about laptops. So maybe some of our customers, they think about, the fact that they've got maybe 30,000 users, right, out there,
Yeah.
each one with their own device,
Yeah.
sometimes multiple devices. They all connect into a data center
Yeah.
where there's thousands of physical servers,
VMs
right?
and containers.
And that's basically where your large systems are being housed, and on those, that's physical machines. Then there's virtual machines, right? So they're logical, machines and systems that live on top of those physical boxes. And then we haven't even addressed, guys now moving data into the cloud.
Yes.
So you're using all of these platforms, and that, to your point, this web becomes extremely complex, and every point of contact is a point of reference.
Exactly.
That
And
needs to
necessary.
be exactly. That's usually necessary. So there's probably you want to be
Yeah.
as efficient as possible, but it is a
Yeah.
balance, right?
It's the balance.
So when we speak, then we've got data at scale, the complexity of this, but there's also another angle to this in terms of we've got maybe a database, right? That's a single file, but it's 10 terabytes big.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge, right?
It's an absolute challenge.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it in context to the hard drive size that you've got here. We're talking a big database,
Yeah.
right? They are bigger,
Yeah, for sure.
So protecting 10 terabytes of, one big file, you think, it's only one file to back up, but because
Yeah.
it's so big, it's got some complexity to it.
Absolutely.
Now spread that out over a couple of hundred machines, and you've got scale,
Exactly.
right? And then on the other side of it, you might have, small files, maybe a couple of kilobytes, like a Word document.
When you've got 10 million of them,
10 million of those Word documents making up 10 terabytes, is a different type of challenge. So it's
Completely
kind of like
different. It's that understanding the where, the when, and the how
yeah,
of the data protection is key.
yes,
Knowing firstly what you need to back up and how you need to do it in the best way possible for the data we have.
exactly. And in fact, all three of those data archetypes, your data of record, analytics, and metadata, can be a composite of those massive,
Absolutely.
disproportionate kind of data, right?
Yeah.
So you'll find that type of data in all three areas of your business that you need to deal
Sure.
with. So Richard, I mean, I think we hopefully have explored that quite nicely. Going forward in our series, we're going to be looking at some of the technologies and some of the strategies that we apply as data scientists to these challenges at scale, right?
Yeah.
How do we deal with large single files across hundreds of machines, and how do we deal with billions of small files, literally billions of small files, also spread maybe on one machine or spread across multiple machines. So there's various technologies. The real interesting bits that we're going to get into is how do we leverage the products and technologies that we have to create a holistic data protection strategy.
Yeah.
So once again, Richard, thank you very much for rocking up and being our intelligence, even though you're not artificial. And
Or
also, well, that's questionable. But also, thank you so much to our viewers for tuning in for another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Please don't forget to like, share, and follow our LinkedIn page.